This is wronger than the bald girl in the bonnet, so let's try to fix this
First step I need to do to investigate why I lost diff action in the rear of the Kraton is take these 4 screws off of the diff. So you see them there. And then open this bad boy up. We're going to inspect this. We're going to inspect the planetary gears, the main gear, and see if the pin is in. We're going to do all this. We're going to check it out and see what we have. The thing I noticed here is that this is fully intact. You can see all of the lube that's in there, the diff fluid, but all of the teeth are perfect. See that? But now when you open this up, I'm turning the output drive, but nothing is turning inside. Nothing is turning inside. Figure out why it's not turning inside. So first take out the first set of gears. Take out the second set of gears. And then I have my 2 paper shims there. And you look down into the bottom and see what's going on. So that's turning, right? So somewhere between this and that, we weren't getting any turns. So let's inspect it and see if the teeth are broken or intact. Looks like all the teeth are intact. So man, it might it might be an issue with me, right? I might have not I may have not put this tight enough to make the whole thing work. So let's put it back together and see if I tighten it up, if we'll get the diff action that's required. There's a pin inside there, but I verified that the pin is good because I grabbed the gear and then I tried to turn the output drive and it doesn't turn. So I know the pin is good to go. So now we just have to put this thing back together in reverse. There's a flat spot where these 2 planetary gears rest, the pin that goes in between them. We need that flat spot to be up. And then there's a flat spot on the other set, and we need that flat spot to be down. And that's how they rest on top of each other. So you see here, I have the flat spot facing up. If you look here, there's a flat spot there, no flat spot here. We're gonna put that flat spot facing down. Push that all the way down. And lo and behold, I have diff action. So now, when I turn the output gear, you see the planetary gear is turning. So what I found is that all the teeth are perfect, the cup is perfect, the output drives are perfect, the bearing is perfect, the bolts are perfect, the shims are perfect. I messed up. Somewhere along the way when I put it together the first time, I didn't tighten it down enough. So this time when we tighten it down, we'll go ahead and make sure we still have diff action, and then we'll use some good Loctite and get it nice and tight so it doesn't back out again. So from my experience, putting diff lube in the rear center diff, I go at 1 million on this big rig. I also have earplugs, but when I put earplugs in the rig before, it just really locked up the back 2 wheels so much that in any turn, the car didn't want to turn it sharply. It took wider turns because that outside wheel needs to spin faster than the inside wheel when it turns. But if you have them turn at the same speed, the car doesn't want to turn, right? It's fighting to turn. So 1 million is still heavy, way thicker than stock. But the earplugs for me and my application was just too heavy. We could go back and forth in the comments on what to use on the 8th scale, and if you're doing bashing versus speed running. But for my application, I tried them both, and I like the 1 million. So that's what we're going with. Put that down. We'll put the 1 million in now. This stuff is so thick, you kind of have to coax it out. It's not the consistency of a syrup. 1 million, well, probably even a real good maple syrup, right? Look at that. It's super thick, so it does the job, right? The diff action is all about allowing your wheels to spin at different speeds. The reason why you need your wheels to spin at different speeds, as I alluded to before, is that the inside wheel is going to spin slower than the outside wheel in a turn. And you need that. When you don't want that so much is in the center diff, the back versus the front wheels and how they spin. You see cars that's doing wheelies uncontrollably, like that first bash video with the X-Max after the power upgrade was way too much wheeling. That thing could really use some heavier diff fluid in the center diff. So we're gonna let this soak in. It's in there pretty good, nice and clear. We'll let it settle down and come back after it's settled and gets into all the nooks and crevices. And then we'll repack this diff and see if we can't get us a working diff. All right, we're gonna put our spacers back in. We have 2 spacers on the top, 2 on the bottom. We never open up the bottom, so they're still in there. You just have to trust me on that. But this is what the spacer looks like. I'm just setting it on here like so. So the design of this is these posts go into the top to make sure that you don't get the torque side to side. And then the hole is for the 4 screws that we use to attach it. And you can see the 2 holes per side. So one hole is for the posts, the other hole is for the screws. So we just have to line that up perfectly. Let's see, right about, yeah, like that. Right about there. Okay, perfect. Squeeze it down. Get it all sandwiched in like a s'mores. Ah, look at that. When I turn the bottom, the top one turns. That diff action is what we're talking about. This is all we've been asking for. Look at that. So I put some red Loctite in there, making sure it's still turning. You can see it's still turning. So turn one side and the other side should turn. Remember, it's going in the opposite direction. And if you remember in the video, I could turn one wheel and the other wheel didn't turn. Man, that's how I knew something in here was wrong. But when I got this diff in my hand from taking it out the car, I also noticed that all 4 of these screws were loose. I don't know. I didn't screw it down enough. I think it's because it was all so new in there that when I did it the first time, when I went to squeeze it down, it didn't want to turn for me. Like, you see how perfect the turn is? It feels good in my hand. It's smooth. And now I can like really torque down. I like to use hand tools when I do some of this closer in work, just because I want to feel how tight it is. Also, I don't want to strip any of these. Once you strip one of these, you're in trouble. You kind of want to have a little finesse with it. But now at the end. So what do we learn from all of that? You get a brand new cup, brand new diffs. You go with a heavy diff fluid, like 1,000,000, or worse, earplugs. It's gonna be super tight in there. And not always when it's so tight will it allow you to screw it down and still get diff action, right? You can screw it down, sure, but then you won't be able to turn it. So now I have it tightened in, secured, got Loctite. Gonna clean this whole thing up. Now the key is putting this back in here, right? So we gotta grab, put that in, put this drive in. Grab this guy. Uh-oh. No difficulties. It's not as smooth as they make it sound on YouTube. All right, get it, put it, push it in. Okay, now it's in.
You the best.
Good. Now we got it in. Look at that, perfect. Now there's 4 screws and the biggest screw right there. So let's get that going. I'm super stoked that that was the problem. That the problem was me and not something broken, or not something that I led to a problem that was broken, because these parts start to get expensive. PDQ, right? Pretty quickly. But this was an opportunity to learn my rig a little more, to be able to pop it open, make a quick YouTube video on how to maintenance your own cars. And that's a good thing, man. Because I definitely was the guy who would bash my car up and then take it to the shop and wait for those guys to fix it. But I have no patience. So I had to start learning how to do it myself. And then I was going through the internet, the YouTubes, if you will, to figure it all out. And then I decided maybe I should make my videos so that a lot of these common problems can be shared at the same time. We can just learn how to fix it together. Right? We just learn how to fix it together. Good. Now for the Big Daddy, I change that out. Put this on. Now you have this last one that goes on. So there you go. You saw me put it all in. If you didn't see me take it out, it was just the same steps. Just in reverse, right? The same steps, just in reverse. Easier said than done because it's sitting on its own weight. I think that's it. Yeah. You got to switch this again. Just that one screw had a 4mm on it. Everything else is a 3. Pop that in. And again, the reason why I had to take the shocks off is because you could take the cover off, but then to get this out, you needed the room, right? You needed the space. So that's why we took these off in the first place. There. Nice. And now the next step is putting the wing back on. So the wing, there's just 4 bolts for that. I took the wing off so I could get to these 2 bolts. Without that, that would have been ridiculous because I would have had a hand screw it off, and nobody's got time for that. Last 2 screws for the whole build. We should be back in business. What am I missing? Wheel turns, and the other wheel turns. We did it right. Ooh, look at that, ladies and gentlemen. It's turning in the opposite direction. That is perfect. That is what you want. Good stuff. So now I'll be out bashing in no time. No time being 24 hours. A, it's raining outside. B, I want all that Loctite that's in there to dry up, solidify, and not allow it to back out like it did last time. But I got lucky. Don't let it happen to you because it happened to me. Don't let it happen to you because it happened to me. I didn't lock it up tight enough. So that's one to grow on. Tell a friend to tell a friend from a 5'7".